Hey y'all, Matt here with Bobcat Bonsai, and today I thought, why not talk about the thought process that goes into starting a bonsai from scratch. So, first off, thank you for coming along. Secondly, let's get to it. Alright, so step one, the brainstorming phase. As you can see, I've got my little book here from Nature's Way Bonsai. That's my local nursery. So that's where I normally go whenever I need to pick up stuff. I try to shop locally to help support them. But brainstorming. So what comes into brainstorming? Well, for one, what style are we looking for? Anybody who knows and watches my videos consistently knows I commonly go towards the Cascade style. Happens all the time. And I don't know why, but that's just the direction my brain always travels to, even though there's so many other great options out there. You can go literati, you can go traditional with just like the standard little S curve, which a lot of people have started to fade away from now. Then there's a broom style. There's a globe style. There's so many different styles. Do you want to go over a rock? If so, I mean, I would first grow that tree to the full size I wanted it. Then I would put it over the rock because it would be easier to figure out the exact rock you need rather than changing all the rocks, because you may decide halfway through your growing process over a rock that you want the tree to be bigger, and then now all of a sudden you're trying to fit it over a different rock and the roots might have started fusing already. Man, that's a lot of things to think about. But I think today I'm gonna end up going with a little red maple that I have. So the tree decided is going to be a red maple. I kind of went through the brainstorming process already, previous to my thoughts on doing this video, and then I was like, hey, it would be pretty cool to go through the whole thing here. But maybe we'll do multiple trees. Now, my first bonsai I ever created was a Cascade red maple. And last summer, I had this genius idea to test my theory of could I repot it in the middle of summer. And guess what? It didn't make it. Now I'm going to go back to that tree style. And I've got kind of like a little glazed pot out there. And it's not super big, but I just want to get it into this pot here. And this is going to be a lower pot. It's not going to be like a pot that's going to be taller for like a big cascade. So my plan is to do a semi cascade here. And I want to get my red maple coming out and then down. I want to get a second bigger branch coming upwards here. And I want to get a little bit of branching just out through here to get the tree chop up there. Then get a little bit down through here. Have one that comes down on the other side. So this one's actually poking out through the other side here. And that one's going to go there. Maybe a little guy down here. And a little one over here. So that's the tree design that I want to go for here. And then the pot's got some little feet on it. So we'll put some little feet on the pot. Okay. So that is pretty much the brainstorming method for what I was going for here. As you can see, the pot is going to be much bigger than the tree that I'm going to put into it, but I do want the tree to grow more. So because I want the tree to grow more, I want to give the pot more room for the roots to grow, because if the root system can grow and absorb more nutrients, the tree will grow to fit into the pot. I'm not trying to match a fully developed tree into a pot, which is why the tree to pot ratio is the pot's going to be bigger than the tree. So that's something else you have to consider. And since we're coming from scratch creating a bonsai, normally you're going to want the pot to be bigger than the tree so that the tree can grow into it. So I guess next is picking out the pot and the tree, because I have quite a few of both. Okay, so looking at tree options here, as you can see, the buds have begun to swell, but they haven't burst all the way open yet. This is a little red maple right here, and it's fairly tall. As you can see, it keeps coming up. I also have one right here. Neither of them have the branching where I want. So planting these, I'm going to be hoping that the branches show up where I want them to. Is more or less what would happen in this situation, because they're not developed that far. But let's see some of the other red maples I have and see if any of them are a little bit more fitting. So I have this little guy right here, and this one is not super big either, maybe about 8 inches long. Also, the buds haven't begun to burst all the way. They're still somewhat in there. So that one could also be an option here for the tree, but again, the branching's not there. So now I have this much bigger red maple here. And this one, again, the buds haven't started popping, but this one's got all the branching that I would need. So the thing to think about with this one is, what size do I want to go? For me, I struggle with keeping mamey trees alive because they are so tiny. So I don't think mamey is an option. So this tree kind of leaves me with two options that I have to decide. Do I want to grow a shohin, or would I want to grow a kumano? This tree's roughly 4 years old right now, and it definitely has all the possibilities to grow whatever I would want out of it. The difficult part would be the roots, because I can't remember what the roots are like in here, and that could play a huge factor in what size pot that I need to put this in. And I wasn't planning on going so big that it would need a giant pot, but this may be the tree. Let me take a look around at a few others and see if this is definitely the option I want to go with. All right, so we made it to the part that the tree has been selected for what we will use. And I think it's going to be a good choice. I believe if I plant it right here at an angle like this, it's going to give me the cascade I want off of this one thicker branch right here, the one that's moving around, and that top branch up there, this one, will be a nice little part for the top to give it that semi-cascade look. So now that we have decided on the tree, we will update our notes in our notebook here. So we added the age and the date, as well as putting semi-cascade on here for the tree. So now we know how old it is, and we can update our logs with that. So the next part that we are looking for here is pot selection. So a lot of times people will dig out the tree ahead of time and actually place it in each individual pot. But I'm gonna figure this out based off of the size of the tree. So based off the size of the tree, these little pots that I was thinking about in my mind are now all out of the option. None of those will be good enough for this tree. So these ones are all out. So now we've got to look at some bigger ones here. This one is not an awful option right here, but it's still not enough. That's not going to let this tree grow at all. It's going to lock it in too much. So this one's not going to work size-wise. I have this little guy right here. Again, beautiful pot, absolutely love it, but not going to work size-wise once again. So now I've got this pot, which if you guys remember the blueberry tree that died, that was in this pot. And this pot could be a very good pot. My concern is this opening here, but I can actually patch that off with some screen again, and that will prevent, that will actually allow me to put more dirt into this pot for the tree. So this one is definitely a good contender. And then I have this little guy right here. Not really little, this guy is massive. So we have kind of plain, simple type of pot. Pretty cool. We have a wildly awesome pot. And I really like the wildly awesome pot. So I think what we're going to do here is go with the wildly awesome pot. So we decided on our pot as well. This is actually giving me a little bit more depth too than what the initial tree was going to give, so, or the initial pot design was going to give, so that's great as well. So now I'm going to mark in my notes that this is a K19 pot from one of the potters. So now I know which pot it's going to be in as well. Now comes the fun part of getting the tree out and then getting it potted up. So for that part, we will fast forward through it, just let you get some watching action on as I repot it and listen to some good music. I will talk to you again at the end. Alright, so here we have it, all finished up for what we're going to do with it. We've got our nice pot here, right? Then we have the trunk coming up into almost like a nice little curve coming down. We'll most likely get rid of every single one of these branches, but right now I want to let everything else go because we did a lot of work. And we've got our top that's coming up and just rolling up through. So we've got a nice little semi-cascade look right now. We'll end up starting to move these branches a little bit more later on, but I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you enjoy my content, you should subscribe to my channel. And if you really enjoy my content, you should hit the bell notification so you get notified every time I release a new video. Thank you.